of our ongoing voter education efforts to help voters make an informed decision about the upcoming election. We hope that over the course of this program, you will learn more about how the candidates plan to improve the quality of life for the residents in District 4 in North Miami. And I would like to encourage you to please vote on November 5th. If you are going to use a mail-in ballot, please make sure you contact the Miami-Dade Election Department to make sure you receive your ballot. That's very important. Before I introduce the moderator, I would like to give you a little bit about her background. Nacivre is the moderator for the North Miami District 4 Candidates Forum. She served as the secretary for the Sunkist Grove Neighborhood Association since 2018. Natalia has over 10 years of experience as a professional urban planner, having worked in land use, energy, transportation, park planning, working both short-term and long-range planning projects that continue shaping South Florida. Her current role is Senior Park Planner at Miami-Dade County, where she manages several complex park acquisition projects, agreement, assess management for the entire park system. She is a North Miami resident and a property owner since 2017. She holds both a bachelor's and master's degree from the University of Florida. And without further ado, I will turn this meeting over to our moderator, Natalia. Please listen carefully because she will be going over some important rules for this event. Thank you again for coming, and I hope you all will listen very carefully to what the candidates have to say. Candidates, you may take your seat up front, those that are here.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Okay. Welcome to this candidates forum. My name is Natalia. I will be the moderator, and first I will be explaining some procedures for the forum, both for the public, for the audience, and the candidates. We have 1, 2, 3. The forum is not a debate. No interaction or debate among candidates will be allowed. All attendees will be expected to remain quiet throughout the forum. No direct interaction of any kind will be allowed from the audience. The audience cannot ask questions. Only the moderator will be allowed to interact with the candidates. All interaction by a candidate will be through the event moderator. There will be no winner declared by the moderator or event hosts. Candidates' responses will be limited to 2 minutes, and time will be monitored by by a non-resident. No grandstanding, speaking off topic, off-color remarks, or personal character attacks will be permitted and will be called out of order by me. Attendees are requested to refrain from wearing clothing or accessories that promote political parties, candidates, or organizations. This includes but not limited to hats, shirts, buttons, pins. So we will start with the candidates for the District 4 Council seat for the city of North Miami. We have with us right now Ms. Beverly Hilton, Ms. Betty Vega, and Mr. Daniel Calixte. Okay. So we'll start with our questions. Again, remember you have 2 minutes. I'll start with a statement and then I'll ask the questions. You have your microphone.
seconds left. We hit it ding.
Yes, please turn off all of your electronic devices so that we're not interrupted. Okay, let's start. District 4 has many issues with derelict cars parked improperly on city swales, overgrown alleyways, and sidewalks that do not meet ADA. Illegal car mechanics and roaming unsupervised dogs. If elected, how are you going to stop these problems? Go ahead. Whoever wants to start.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Beverly Hilton. I live in north of Miami for 27 years. I raised my family here. I have my business, and I work with the North Miami Police in crime prevention. And that was one of the things that I addressed with the department. I work with code enforcement at the time to eliminate and to prevent the cars on the swell, because it really deteriorates the sidewalk, the swells. At one point, there is, I think, a law about parking on the swell. You're not allowed to park on the swell or blocking the sidewalk. So I'll work towards educating the residents and in parking their cars.
You want to finish? Okay, next.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Vega. I want to start by first saying why we are here. We are here because we have 3 seats open in North Miami, and we have 13 candidates in total. That's a lot of candidates that want to better our city. We are here in September because the election got pushed back, and now we have our elections in November. And we all know how that went in City Hall. A lot of people were not happy about that. People are concerned, and I understand why. I personally have been in North Miami in District 4 for 20 years. I raised my kids in District 4. I live with my mom who helps me. And I've been a guardian ad litem volunteering my time specifically in our community, giving back to our community in that sense. I know what it's like to get to know my kids and be a listening ear, a helping hand. With regards to the derelict cars, I feel like we have the rules in place. Perhaps some revision is needed, but we definitely need to train and supply the people that in code enforcement that can enforce these rules. There have been other times where we also have rules in place where they're not being enforced. So I think that that's one of the main ways that we can get rid of all these breaking of the rules. The rules exist. I get warnings sometimes for bulk trash being too big. So these rules exist regarding derelict cars. We need revisions, and we need to hold the people accountable for that kind of responsibility, like code enforcement. Thank you.
No, you still have. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Daniel Calixte. I've been living in the city for 25 years. I've been working for the city of North Miami for 8 years. I built the social service division, the senior service center, and the congregate meal site for the city. I've been living here. Since I've been living here, I've been very active with the city. I've been serving the city in all capacity that I could. When they call me, I answer the call, and I wish that we could have a better District 4. Now, your question, ma'am, was what should we do?
How would you solve these problems? The improperly parked cars on city swales, overgrown alleyways and sidewalks, and illegal car mechanics, and roaming unsupervised.
I believe that we should set aside some fundings for outreach, education, and after outreach and education, we can start give citation to cars and to illegal mechanic that has been going on in the district. Thank you.
Before I move on to the second question, please remember to stop by the elections table to make sure you're registered and you have signed up for your mail-in ballot. Okay, let's move on. The next question is about economic development. Over $1 million were spent on concepts like Chinatown, Red Gardens, and a trip to China for certain District 4 officials with the plan to attract tourism, grocery stores, and healthcare facilities. These concepts have not been implemented. The question is, where are your favorite places to spend time in our district, and what incentives do you plan to offer business to build in District 4? Let's start.
Well, the project never been implemented just because they were superficial from the beginning with. The program were unachievable, but they did it anyway. They spent a lot of money, a lot of traveling done, and then at the end of the day, we're not getting anything. My plan for the economic growth in District 4 is making sure that the city build infrastructure to help small businesses, because I'm a small business owner myself. I know when you open a business, the second part that eat off your money is advertising. And I have a plan to build infrastructure around city, North Miami and District 4 to help small businesses get known by not only by the residents and by passerby that maybe going to another city. So they can stop there and buy what they have to buy, and then they hire more people and the city will flourish that way.
What are your favorite places to spend time in our district, in District 4?
Well, I can think of one.
Okay.
I can think of one really. But that needs to change. That needs to change. That needs to change.
Thank you. No clapping. Please, no clapping. Go ahead.
I think for economic growth, we need to incentivize local small business owners. That not only helps us economically, but it helps our own residents. I think a lot of what's been happening is that we keep looking outside to solve our problems. I don't know what a trip to China has to do with economic growth locally in North Miami. We have a lot of successful cities just neighboring by. So I'm not sure what that's about. My favorite places here are public parks, but I do believe that we need additional places. For example, I have a 6-year-old who loves Burger King because of the playground there, and then besides that, it's just public parks, just talking about District 4. Otherwise, we do travel the city because we want to keep our money within the city, but my 6-year-old, for example, my 7-year-old, sorry, he just turned 17 last week, he does not hang out in North Miami whatsoever. I'm Ubering a lot, and I've been paying tax dollars for 20 years. So I'd like to live, work, and eat here, play here. I think that's what's missing for a lot of the District 4 residents. We have all been canvassing, and we find that to be a common denominator with regards to entertainment in District 4. But it doesn't mean that I want an 18th floor building on top of that. Thank you.
I'm gonna sit because I have a ankle problem. Okay, for me, sad to say, I don't have a favorite place in North Miami, and that's what I would like to change. But if I need to have a breakfast or lunch somewhere, I need to go to Aventura, someplace out of North Miami. That's what I like to change. I'd like to bring some business into North Miami, movie theater, someplace. When I first moved here, we used to have a skating rink, a roller skating rink. We need to bring that back. We don't have anything for the young people to do. We don't have a place to sit and relax and have. I would like to That's reason I'm running. I would like some changes, and I'm here to make change, to bring businesses into North Miami so the resident can stay here, spend their money here, and have fun in North Miami.
Thank you. Okay. Next question is related to flooding. We have extreme flooding on certain District 4 streets. One example is Northwest 120th Street between Northwest 15th and 16th Avenues. This problem is recurring every time it rains, for example now. What policies and programs can you implement to mitigate the street flooding or adapt, whichever?
Okay, we have, it's gonna rain, it's gonna be flooded. But what needs to be done is we need more drainage. Also, we need to make sure the drains are clean. Some areas, when it rains, the water dissipates real quick. Some areas it's sick. I have my neighbor here who doesn't live in District 4. They have other issues, real flooding, bad flooding issue. So we need to have more drains. We need to place more drains. We need to clean out make sure the drains are clean. And if we don't have enough drain, we need to place more drains.
Let's hold the applause till the end. Thank you. Okay, let's hold the clapping until the end of the forum. Oh, the question?
Yeah.
Okay, the question is, we have extreme flooding on certain District 4 streets. This problem is recurring every time it rains. What policies and programs can you implement to mitigate or adapt to street flooding?
So I think one of the things that we need to start with is to better what we have and see if it's viable, if it supports the current population that we have. Maybe it doesn't, so that needs to be addressed first. Certainly, part of our solution for economic growth, I'm gonna tie that in here, if that includes for some people development, then that would be the second step behind taking care of what we currently have. If our current residents are having flooding, then we have to address what is available for them. The drainage system, maintenance to the drainage system, perhaps some changes, and on top of that, we're gonna need a better response time. I was in a meeting recently, and about a month late, a meeting that approved $620,000 for pump stations, and literally a month later, there was heavy rains. I believe it was June 4th or June something, and people were waiting for a long time to get out of their now front door lake. So definitely, let's improve what we have, see if it's viable and improve it, make it better, make it work, provide maintenance for it to work efficiently, and also we need a better response time for those areas that we don't normally see flood.
I live in 123rd Street and 10th Avenue. For 25 years I live in this community. I do not remember that we have that much problem on 120 that we're having right now. What happens, they hired some companies, when there were drainage, they took the drainage off, they have less drainage, and that's why now the water sitting in front of the residence home, they can't even get into the house. Now, they need to come back to put the drainage back where they were, and if they need more drainage, you could put more drainage, but you can't take what they already had. Of course we're gonna have that problem. What do they do with the drainage? Nobody knows. We just have to replace the drainage and put them back.
Okay, thank you. Next question is about parks and recreation. My favorite. You can tell a city cares about their residents by the quality of their parks. Our District 4 parks facilities are old and in need of many repairs. programming was canceled due to COVID, and after almost 5 years, most of the programming has not resumed. Some of it resuming until very recently. Pepper Park fitness equipment is broken and needs to be upgraded. The range of programs offered to seniors and youth are underperforming. What would you do to address these challenges of access and underservice that the city park system is facing? Who wants to start?
I'll start. The park system, not just in District 4, they all need repairs. I've lived here for 27 years. I've visited this park. Matter of fact, I used to have events at this park, and it's been the same way. We need new parks, not just District 4, but throughout North Miami. We just need new parks. We need to cut the wasteful spending and spend the money where it needs to go. The kids, they have no place to play. You go to Pepper Park, they have a couple of swings. I remember when out of town and I sent some pictures to Miss Judy of what I'd like to see the parks to be. And it's just amazing. We need to spend the money in our city on the residents that are paying taxes. We need to cut the wasteful spending, and we'll be able to do that.
The way that we improve the city is by funding programs that we need properly. Like Beverly stated, we do have some wasteful spending, so clearly there's money. Maybe we can pause international travel and keep it local and have some money left over for our kids. I mentioned briefly earlier that I have a 17-year-old. I also have a 6-year-old. My 17-year-old had a very different experience than my 6-year-old in this city. My 17-year-old was in Little League and in Pee Wee football right here. My 6-year-old, I had to scramble this summer to get him into the 2 programs that we had during the summer. So we definitely need those programs that we have for children that are usually in the summer and winter break and spring break. Those take place in the parks. That means those parents are coming to the park. And if those parks are attractive, those parents will continue to come. Not just to pick up their kids, but to spend time, for the kids to get to know it, for the kids to have apt basketball courts that aren't missing pieces, or courts that are missing pieces on the floor or on the rim could be missing. So I think that if we expect it to be up to par, we have to fund them properly. And clearly, we're making decisions regarding how we use our money that don't align with what we want to see in our city.
When it comes to park, I think the city is going backward because the parks are underutilized. I'm talking about the centers. If you take a look at Clyde Center, it's closed. And there's no programming in there. And if you take a look at Sunkist, now they have they used to have a tutoring program. They closed it, they didn't fund it, and now I guess they will fund it again. I believe that there is the parks, the Clyde Center should be funded adequately so it can have programming in there for kids. Because this is a residential area. Everybody, you know that we have a lot of kids in this area. Why the parks is sitting right there and they're not doing anything? And here, I remember when I started the senior program here, and we had to close off one side, and now we're not using it to the full capacity. We need to think or rethink how we should run the parks and fund them properly. Thank you.
Okay. Let's move quick. Next topic is water. The North Miami's water and sewage system are, for the lack of a better word, in a mess, with molar pipes bursting every day. The 1962 plant is barely hanging by a thread. Within 13 months, separately, that is the problem statement. Within 13 months, the former city manager and her staff were able to secure a $200.9 million fundings from the EPA and $40 million funding from the state. After the firing of the city manager, the project just stopped. The water pressure is so low that it has delayed fire certification for some buildings because the fire sprinklers cannot kick in fast enough. Two questions. Will you get this project back on track and a new water plant built?
Absolutely. We need a new water plant. The water plant's been ignored for many years by some council members. We need to, our city manager, she was able to secure, allocate funds, $200.5 million, and it's in jeopardy right now for us to lose it because of our city manager. She's no longer with us, and I don't think anyone is really focusing on that. We need to build a new water plant that will last for the next 25 years, and maybe we could sell water to our neighbors to offset some of the new charges that will accumulate. Yes, so we need to. We had the best city manager. We had the best city manager in the state of Florida, and if you notice, some seats are empty over there. Our appointed council released the city manager for no reason at all. So we need changes, and we need it now in order to get our city back on track.
This is not the first time that we've had funding for our water treatment plant. The water treatment plant runs at 60%, and we buy the other 40. Why are we buying the other 40? So obviously, we all know it's in disrepair, it lacked maintenance for a long time, which is why it's so important that, especially us as District 4, because we're from here, but everybody in our city becomes active. Because this is a problem that clearly has been here for a long time, and we just get local government time and time again who doesn't prioritize this. Because of the firing of our city manager, it was put on hold, and as I understand, there are several options on the table, some including us just purchasing water, not building the water treatment plant. Some do include us working with what we have and making it, foreseeing the use that we're gonna have, because obviously when it was built for that time. At this point, we already need more than what it was built for. There are a lot of options on the table according to our city at this point. But I personally would like us to have our own water treatment plant, and for us to continue to be something that we can boast about. We do have the best water in South Florida, according to some survey maybe a few years back. So that's my personal opinion. But.
Do we need a water plant? Absolutely. We did have the money many times to build the water plant, but I guess our representative decided not to do that. But now I believe we have, before they gave licenses to all these buildings to be built, they should have done the water infrastructure first, because they're not single family home. They're 18, 10, 30 stories. I believe that they should ask the developers some pre-tax. They may pay maybe a 10-year ahead of tax so they can fix the water plant. And beside that, of course, they can apply for many grants from the federal government. We have to understand that we are a federally entitled city. We can't write the directly to the federal government. we need to write a lot of grants, and we do need to have some participation from the builders also to pay some type of pre-tax. You pay the tax before, you can pay 5, 10 years ahead, and then every year you just deduct it from that. Because we do need the water plant. Thank you.
Okay, great segue for the next question. Are you willing to sponsor an item on the city agenda to put a building moratorium on any new construction in the city? Yes or no, and if not, why? You can start.
Okay. Yes, I would. I would until we get this water thing fixed. Until we have the infrastructure, the water, until we get at least the pressure we need to build before we can build any more 10 to 18-story building. Yes.
I am in favor of that. I am in favor of that. Obviously, not just so we can stall development, but more importantly, so that we can actually build our infrastructure and make sure that situations doesn't get worse than what it already is.
I'm in favor of building.
The question is, would you sponsor an item in the city agenda to put a building moratorium, which means it pauses all developments, and any new construction in the city? If yes, no, if not, why?
Yes, I would. We need the development to move our city forward, but we need to hold them accountable. We need to make sure they need to make sure they are part of our infrastructure growth. They want to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do to make our city better.
Thank you. Next question. Does anyone need a break? 5 minutes? A water break? Okay, let's keep going. The next topic is utility bills. According to the 2025 budget proposal, the fees for the water bill will be increasing again because the county is increasing its fees. However, 60% of the city's water is leaking underground from broken pipes. It is projected that North Miami will need at least 20 million gallons of water a day for its population. The water plant produces 13 million. Please tell us how you can improve service with the increased bill and prevent a water supply crisis.
Again, we need a new water plant. In order to supply our present growth and future, we need to make sure that grant that the previous city manager allocated is there. We need to tap into federal funds. We need to tap into state fund. We also need to have an individual, that person's main position is to seek grant to build a new water plant. And that's the only way we'll be able to keep the water level, keep the rate as it is, and not increase. We'll also be able to, again, as I said earlier, we could sell to our neighbors, which will stabilize our water price, the cost of the water.
They just sent us an increase on our water for October. That decision was made in 2021, which is why we need more community involvement. I've been going to our HOAs, and our president in my local HOA always tries to drive the point home of involvement. It's fine if we go, it's fine if we hear the message from our president, it's fine if we complain and we say, look into this, look into that, but we need to be active. You know, We need to show up at City Hall. At this point, we need to know what's going on directly from the city. We need to see them not acting how we wanted them to act. They're supposed to represent us. That's the problem. How have we been voting for all these years? This increase, we decided on in 2021. We decided on it when we didn't go vote, or when we voted for the wrong person, or when we didn't hold the people that we elect accountable. We need to have less parties, and we need to replace more pipes.
I believe we ignore the problem is not going to fix itself. We need a brand new water system and water pump and water plant. We need to rewire the whole city with the plumbing pipe. And if we don't do that, we are going to lose more water every day. And it's gonna come a day that it'll probably be too late. So we need involvement, the community involvement. We need to hold our elected officials accountable, and then we need to demand better. Because now we're not demanding anything. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Our next topic is waste. District 4 has a chronic issue with oversized bulk and garbage not picked up on time, which makes the neighborhood unsightly, attract pests, and create nuisances. It has gotten so bad that the city established a new position to handle the complaints coming from the residents instead of holding Waste Pro accountable to the contract it signed with the city. Are you going to enforce the Waste Pro contract to them and be accountable for the services that the residents are paying for but not receiving consistently?
I was one of the person that was against privatization. We had a system in place that was working very well. Myself and another resident, some other resident, we collect signatures when they first came out with privatization. We fought it and we won. The council went behind our back and they brought it back. Now, Waste Pro is there. I actually had a conversation with one of the directors today, and I asked him, what's the real deal? Why are we having so much issues with the bulk trash pickup or the garbage pickup? He told me that it was staff shortage. I asked him specifically, is that we don't have enough vehicle? He said no. They're training workers and they're short staff. I will hold them accountable. Right now, that's all we have. In order to if you start with another company, it's gonna be maybe the same thing. So we need to keep what we have, work with them and make sure, hold them accountable, make sure they keep their hand in the deal.
I actually speak with vendors all the time, read contracts all the time, and make decisions on who is best to fulfill the needs that I have. In those contracts is something called the scope of work. The scope of work details exactly what you want in the service. Waste Pro has a scope of work. There's no doubt about that. They must have it. A shortage in staff is not our problem. When you have a contract, you have to fulfill the contract. That means if I am a small business owner and I promise you that I'm gonna pick up the trash and 2 people don't show up, I need to learn how to drive the garbage truck. I need to figure that out. That is not our issue. That's the vendor's issue. That company needs to figure that problem out. And that should be something that we hold them accountable for. We should not be hiring someone extra to fulfill a job that we have contracted out. If we decided to contract it out at some point, we made a decision, we paid the money, you're under contract, you fulfill your contract, and it's simple as that. So yes, I would enforce.
The only thing I don't understand is Westpro is the only garbage pickup company in the whole country. We having a contract with Westpro, they're not fulfill their part of the bargain, and then we still hire them. We do not have bid out. We accept it, like I said previously, we, the residents, not asking anything from our elected official. If Westport has this contract for so many years and they are underperformed and they still get their contract renewed every year, that I don't understand. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. They violate all the clauses. There's a clause also that says if they do not do what the scope of service says, we can eliminate the contract. We never do. I don't understand. Thank you.
Thank you. Follow-up question to that. Would you implement something like a resident credit on their bill if their trash is not collected?
Absolutely. They have to pick up the residents' trash. If they don't, they should pay. They should pay for it. Thank you.
It's a yes or no question.
Yes, I would do. Yes, I support that.
I would too. We would not be paying that credit. Waste Pro will be paying that credit.
Good point.
Thank you. Okay, next question, and the next topic is the CRA, the Community Redevelopment Agency. The recent explosion of development throughout North Miami will benefit the CRA greatly. Funds from development can be reinvested in affordable housing, childcare, financing for small businesses, job training programs for low and moderate income individuals, redevelopment of streetscape and roadway improvement, flood control, building renovations, neighborhood parks, sidewalk, street tree planting, and other community services. How will you maximize CRA funding in District 4?
Okay, first of all, the CRA was created for improvement. And it's been around since 2006, I believe. It's not doing that. The CRA fund's is serving special interest. They're not focusing on in our roads, what it's supposed to be. It's focusing on events. They're sponsoring events. They're sponsoring developers, and the residents are really not benefiting from it. I would like to see more services to residents as it relates to home improvement, our sidewalks, and just what it was intended to do. And as long as I've been here, I'm telling you, the funds have been wasting away. So we really need to focus on what it was intended to do.
The CRA should be improving situations for our local businesses and improving the situation of our local residents. I think you mentioned that developers help fund CRA. Did you say that? Developments that we have in the city? Beginning of your question.
That's the prompt. The recent explosion of development throughout North Miami will benefit the CRA greatly.
Right. So what I'd like, speaking of development and recent development, is a better community benefit package. I think that they need to be making those deals. But more importantly, like Beverly stated, we do need to make sure that the CRA is doing what it's there to do, is help us here, as small business owners, our residents here, especially our retired residents who needs a little help with their home improvements. Thank you.
The name says it all. That's a community redevelopment agency. Instead of using the money to create jobs, to build better infrastructure in the city, the money is being wasted in other superficial things around Miami. For one day, we can put 20,000 worth of lights, and after a week, we have to take it down. And I walk. I've seen a lot of people have real needs in the community. Some an elderly woman, I have to stop for 1 hour to change her. I think we can use the money better to help and serve the community. Thank you.
Just to clarify, CRA, it's funded on budget generated by the increase in property taxes within the area. So where the CRA operates, and there's more development, there's more taxes, there's more money in the CRA. Okay, next question. And this is our last of our big questions. The ones after that are light. Ready? Okay. Article 4, Section 19 of the Charter of the City of North Miami specifically states, neither the council nor any of its members shall direct or request the appointment of any person to or his or her removal from office by the city manager or by any of his subordinates, or in any manner take part in the appointment or removal of officers and employees in the administrative service of the city. And end of the statement. The residents came out in great numbers to show support for Rasha Kamu. Thank you. They expressed tremendous appreciation and respect for the work that she was doing as city manager and never received a clear explanation of why she was fired. From the residents' point of view, it appeared that it was because of $100,000 that were not in the budget but were requested to fund a party. First question, what are your thoughts on the firing of Rasha Kamu? And what are your thoughts on the city spending money on items such as parties, especially when they're not part of the approved budget?
First of all, wasteful spending must stop. That's why I'm running. We need changes. The spending of festival, carnival, first of all, firing of the city manager was just totally unacceptable. We had one of the best city managers in the state of Florida. The funny thing is, she was here 1 year in March, I think she was 1 year, and they did a celebration for her. And in 3 months, they wanted to remove her. So of course, you know, it's not about her performance. It's about her controlling the money, our tax dollar. They fired her because they wanted to, one of the reasons, they wanted to give $100,000 to a festival. A festival, couple hours. Festival, that's $100,000. I'm totally against that. we need to cut down on the spending. The mayor and council should not have any, actually, it's illegal for them to interfere with the city manager's performance.
It's just, what are your thoughts on the fire of Russia, and then what are your thoughts on the city spending money on those party items?
Well, okay, so I addressed that. The spending, we need to cut down on this wasteful spending. The parties need to stop. I was always out there frustrated. I don't go to council meeting anymore because they don't listen to us. So that's why we need to change what's going on up there. We need to make sure our dollars spent in our community for the people of our community and not go to parties and events.
Obviously, transparency is needed. We need to have less parties. I've already stated that a few times. But also, I think we should additionally amend the charter to require a resident vote for the firing of the city manager. The city manager is a very important position, and I believe there's a conflict of interest if that is the person controlling the money. So I think that might be, a viable thing to offset something like what happened that day happening, or those few days. We want to try, what I look forward to is trying to make sure that the residents are not ignored. I saw people protesting, I saw people speaking, yet it was like, for the motion of it. Still the decision did not match the constituents. That is a problem. That is a big, big problem in our local government and not just in our district. Thank you.
I was discombobulated when I learned 3 months prior, Russia was the best manager in the world. And 2 months after, she was the worst of anything. I believe that the council, I'm talking about the mayor and the council members, they have no business of getting their nose into the administration. And the law was written this way because they had logical explanation why they shouldn't be getting themselves mixed up in the administration. And what did the second part of the question?
What do you think about the firing of Russia, and what are your thoughts on the city spending money on items such as parties when they're not part of the
I've
budget?
said it many times before. This lavish spending for no reason needs to stop. Going all over the continent. I learned the other day a council person went to Ireland on behalf of the city of Miami. What are we getting out of it? We went everywhere. And we can't even fix our water plant. No, they need to stop. And they have no business getting themselves into the administration. Thank you. I don't think they should have been fired Russia either. Thank you.
Okay, follow-up question to this. If elected, you will be tasked with selecting a new city manager. What particular skills and or experience would you look for a new city manager? And are you willing to uphold the city charter of the City of North Miami, Article 4, Section 19, and support the city manager as it relates to the duties of managing the city's departments, personnel, budget, and all duties that are connected to directing the day-to-day operations of the city? I can repeat the question as each one goes, because it's a big question.
Absolutely. First of all, it is illegal to interfere with the charter, to interfere with the city manager per the charter. We need a city manager with strong business management. Russia had all that. She worked with the CRA. She managed the CRA. She went to the county and she came back and she was doing a fantastic job. I will uphold the charter. I don't want to go to jail. So definitely, I would want to do that. But we also need to revise the charter. There's a bunch of loopholes in there. And because of that, they were able to push the elections back, change the dates. So I think the charter needs to be revisited.
You will be tasked with selecting a new city manager. What particular skills or experience would you look for in a city manager?
A community person, strong business management.
I would definitely uphold the rules of the charter, not just because of the consequences, obviously, but before you break a rule, a lot of things go into play. Morals, integrity, right? So I definitely believe I'm bringing that to the table first and foremost. I don't think I'll have to worry about the consequence of not following a rule. We're talking about the charter. It's like the Bible of the city. So for sure, I will comply. The other thing is, what I would look for in a city manager is someone with the formal education that a city manager would need, but also a proven track record. Perhaps if not as a previous city manager, a successful track record, proven success. If not as a city manager, then as in a position that naturally leads to that position. You know, assistant city manager or some other kind of governmental position. And obviously strong communication skills is important. Thank you.
I would probably choose someone who is community-centered, a people person, strong character, and someone who would not bow to any threat of intimidation when they ask them to deliver or to sign money for a lavishing party somewhere in paradise. Thank you.
And are you willing to uphold the city charter of the city of North Miami?
What the charter says is the same thing the state charter says, the county charter says. I mean, if you have guts to violate these charters, they are the same rules. You're not supposed to get your nose into the administration. Yes, of course.
Okay. Next question. Two-way communication in District 4. District 4 has a diverse population of residents with many languages spoken at home. Oftentimes, information is not communicated to the residents, which leads to underrepresentation at city council meetings. The informed groups show up and usually receive the benefits in their districts. How important is that a council person and their team have a strong relationship with their constituents in District 4? Do you plan to implement improved two-way communications and seek input from the residents? And this is a three-part question. And will your council person votes reflect the values and welfare of the people who elected you? I can repeat it. How important is that a council person and their team have a strong relationship with their constituents in District 4? Do you plan to implement improved two-way communication and seek input from the residents? And will your council person votes reflect, like at City Hall, reflect the values and welfare of the people who elected you?
Absolutely. As I told my HOA presidents, I will work with the residents. I told them that my alliance is with the resident, not the council. Even though we need the council, but my alliance is with the resident. I will work with the resident on any new implementation that we're going to work on, any new programs. The resident must be a part of it. I work in crime prevention, and this is something I've done in the past. We have meetings. We have our block captains that we set up meetings. What do you want? This is what we want. We implement speed controls, and that's with working with the residents. I cannot do it by myself. I don't go out and say, hey, this is what we're doing. We gather and we organize, and this is what we want done.
Well, how important is that a council person and their team have a strong relationship with their constituents in District 4? Do you plan to implement improved two-way communication and seek input from the residents? And will your council person votes reflect the values and welfare of the people who elected you?
Absolutely, yes. And the other thing is, in the past, we used to have translators. We used to have translators of the meetings. I would like to bring that back, because you have a meeting and you have this. North Miami is a melting pot. You have several different languages. I'll definitely bring back our translators so the people, everyone in the audience can participate. Yes, I would participate with the resident would be part of the program.
Help me if I miss one. Communication is of utmost importance. It is the most important thing. The reason why only District 4 is able to vote on the District 4 council person is because I would be the specific person to advocate for our neighborhood and my neighborhood. So of course, it's of utmost importance. También hablo español, and if elected, I will parler Creole too. I'm pretty good with languages, so I'm confident, but it is of the utmost importance. I missed the question?
How important is that a council person and their team have a strong relationship? Do you plan to implement improved two-way communication and seek input? And will your council person votes reflect the values and welfare of the people who elected you?
Yes, I will make sure that it reflects the people that I'm representing. That's the whole point of this position. I also want to add that there are a lot of important things that we need in at least those three languages. Our city is a melting pot. Those three languages is what we need. We need it to communicate regarding parenting resources, home buyer programs, hurricane preparedness, and there are several other things that we definitely need our homeowners to know and not have to stress over not understanding it because they don't understand the language. Thank you.
I believe that the community, District 4 is one community. And I believe every residence, every background needs to be represented at City Hall. The ratio of any ethnicity must be represented at City Hall. If we have 20% of Spanish speaking or ethnicity of Spanish descent, I believe City Hall should have at least 20% of people that work there can communicate with the people. Because it makes no sense for any somebody who speaks Spanish only, and you cannot find a translator among all these people that work in City Hall to translate so everybody can understand. And it goes across the board for every other language that established in District 4. Yes, I believe I'm a communicator. I speak 5 languages, so I can speak Spanish with French, English, and maybe a little Portuguese, but not quite yet. But yes, I believe everybody needs to be represented. Everybody should be on the same tone so we can play the music. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, great. Let's, had one question that was, really quick. Two last questions. For the library, can you identify resources to support library services?
Absolutely, there are many grants out there to support the library, and I would support it. I'm friends with many library members, and the library is very important to our community. I'm a member.
Anyone else?
About the library?
Yeah. Can you identify resources to support library services?
Yes, so definitely like Beverly stated, we would need to seek funding. I also believe that when we as residents and also local government see the value in libraries clearly, very clearly. We have so many things going on in the library, and I feel like communication to the residents is not as best as it could be. For example, they had some kind of gardening thing at the library, and there's many other programs. So I think when we improve the traction in the library, people know about it more. People are like, oh, I'm aware of it, and we can have programs where people start building up more traffic, and that way, when we get the grants, we have many things. Grants sometimes are specific to the kind of thing that you're doing. So you can start a gardening program, and there might be a grant having to do with gardens, not the library, and you can get the money in like that. So I think the more activities we can bring to our libraries, and the more people we can bring to our libraries, the more resources we will have. Thank you.
There's money everywhere. Grants, foundation, government grant, private grant for a library. And I worked with grant before because I'm also a certified grant specialist from FIU. So I know if they need support in grant writing and where the money is, they can find money for the library. Thank you.
One last yes/no question before I give you time for a closing statement. Can you please commit on record to remove all political advertising right after the election?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
There's a fine for that. After 30 days, you need to remove your signs. So absolutely.
So yes, I was gonna ask within 30 days. That's the rule. Yes, of course.
Absolutely.
You have a lot.
Yeah. I don't have a whole lot of sign anyway, so. Thank you.
So now I'll give you your 2 minutes for a closing statement, whatever else you need to communicate with our District 4 residents.
I'll start. Again, my name is Beverly Hilton. I lived here for 27 years, raised my family. I started the Homeowners Association, Alhambra Heights Homeowners Association. I attend most of the Homeowners Association. They know me. I have my business here. I have a school, pre-K through 8th grade. Sorry, I stop right there. What else? I'm a part of the police. I work in crime prevention for 5 years. I'm also a graduate of the police academy. I'm grounded in North Miami. Actually, I know most of you are here. I haven't seen a resident that you all know me. I'm here for change. We need change. If you notice, there's some seats empty over here. We want elected officials, not appointed officials. We want people that the resident can relate with, live here, know your community, wants the best for your community. Again, we need changes. And I'm someone that you can rely on. My phone's never off. Regardless what it is, they always call. I remember one lady called me up, and I have to always have 2 phones. And she said, this is happening. And it's hold 1 second. So I would have her on one line and call the police on the other line. I'm here for you. I'm here to work with you. My alliance is with District 4, but I represent the entire city of North Miami. If you have both hands and one is Hill, you need both hands to be complete. So we need good leadership for District 4 and the city of North Miami. I'm not going anywhere. Thank you.
I have volunteered for many years in this community, my community, as a guardian ad litem. A guardian ad litem is a court-appointed guardian for kids that are in precarious situations in the foster system. Situation is not very good. It is also a private situation, but I have volunteered doing that for many years. I know how to listen to the problem, find a resolution, be able to successfully earn the trust of children and their families, especially in such a sensitive situation. But I also have the character that I think it will take to get things done. We all agree that we want change. And some of us are different skills that we bring to the table. I think we also have to have a lot of strength in our character, ability to communicate in a way where people don't feel like they can downsize us. My allegiance is to District 4, and I participate in the city of North Miami. But my allegiance specifically is for this district.
In 2000, I opened my first home health agency in North Miami because I saw there was a need for it. We had an elderly at home and needed to take the medicine. They couldn't. At that time, the state did not have what you call capitated fee or they have managed care. We had to serve them at their home. And after that, after 20 years, the city called me to build the program for them. I built the social service program, I built the senior program for them, I built the congregate meal site for them. I worked great for them to the state because I was subsidized also by the state to open their home health agency. When I've seen that, I'm a health administrator by profession. I said there was a lot of crime in North Miami, in District 4. So I want to arm the police department with arsenals, the latest technology like Shot Spotter. I don't know if you heard of Shot Spotter before, or ATR, automatic tag reader, because they are very efficient. They have used them in other cities, and I do not know why they're not using them here, or if they have more important thing to spend the money on than the security of the city. So I would ask you to vote for me. I know the community, and I have served as the council aide in this district. So I know must have everybody in this district. Thank you very much. My punch number is 164. Daniel, thank you.
I'd like to close this forum now by thanking all of their candidates, Daniel, Betty, and Beverly, for their participation in our democratic process. I would also like to thank Dave from the Greater North Miami Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Judy Brown from the Sunkist Grove Neighborhood Association, for helping put this together. And to all of you voters, Please remember to vote on November 5th, vote by mail or early votes. If you need an absentee ballot, the application for the absentee ballot, well, they're gone, maybe. No, they're still here. Thank you and have a good night.